Hi everyone, it's Kathy Chenna with Tri-Cities Community TV. We would like to thank the Coquitlam Library for donating this space for us, as well as the First Nations peoples regarding the land that we are seated upon. Today, my guest is, I call her a community leader. Her name is Mithila Karnik Adarkar, and she has a lot to share with us in what's going on in the community and all of the different things that you're involved in. Gosh, you are so busy. Welcome to our program, Mithila. We're very happy to have you here. So one of your proudest moments, let's say, as a community leader is, I believe that in 2023, you were a nominee for the Port Coquitlam Volunteer of the Year.
Yes.
How did that feel to get that nomination?
I think, in all honesty, it was too soon. I have a long way to go. But I do have to thank a couple of friends who thought about it and who went ahead and put in my nomination. And I have to say, it is an extremely proud feeling, simply because whether you win or not, at the end of the day, you are doing something for your community, and to be recognized for it in whatever way possible is just amazing.
Yeah, I totally agree. I love the Port Coquitlam vibe and the culture and community. You know, that sort of leads me into, just before we get into the, I know that you're on the advisory committee for EDI in Port Coquitlam, right? We'll get into that and talk about, you know, how the importance of EDI is, what is EDI, all of those things. But let's just back up to a little bit about who you are. You know, when did you come to Canada? And, you know, I feel like with myself too, you know, I jumped in when I moved to Port Moody. I knew no one. I just jumped right in and thought, well, you know, hopefully things will stick. I'll make new friends, and I'm going to do what I do best, which is volunteer.
Absolutely.
And I feel like we have that in common, and you too did something like that. So tell me a little bit about your history.
Yeah, so I arrived in Canada in the year 2016. We spent 2 years in Vancouver, and then we moved to Port Coquitlam in 2018 as homeowners. And one of the reasons we were drawn to the community at that point in time, of course, was the affordability of owning a home in the Lower Mainland, and the fact that we could finally be in a community that allows us to have dogs. And if you know what I mean, you know, if you're living in Vancouver and if you are a renter, it's really hard to find a pet. And both my husband and I, we are avid pet lovers. So just to have that space, and when we moved to Port Coquitlam, I think we were at first just overwhelmed by how welcoming the community is. And we hit up all the dog parks. We made tons of friends. And that's something that comes naturally to me. I don't shy away from connecting with people. And I can't say I blame that, but I kind of attribute that to the industry that I was in prior to moving to Canada, and it was the Indian entertainment industry. I was an artist manager for over a decade, and that really puts you out of your comfort zone, so to speak. So to be in this community and just to be able to put myself out there and connect with people and just understand and kind of take in what is happening was amazing. Come 2020, the pandemic hit, but I was also a pandemic mom. So I gave birth to a daughter right at the height of the pandemic, April 2020. And around that time, there was virtually nothing to do. So all we could do was take long walks and take long walks, take more long walks. And you kind of just get a sense of, hey, what's happening to me? And, you know, I have all this time. And I have a little one, and what is the best way that I could make use of that time? And that's when we had as a family, we had our first foray into volunteering. We adopted a spot right behind our condo, and that was our outing. We used to go out there, we still do every few weeks. We do a bit of cleanup, but that's also a space for my daughter and our dog to just, you know, really let loose.
Tell me, just sorry to interrupt you there. So in Port Moody, there's Adopt a Street program. I've adopted a street. What does it mean to, I've seen this, but what does it mean to adopt a spot?
I think Port Coquitlam just calls it Adopt a Spot. It is pretty much the same thing, except it's not a street, it's a spot. So an area. So for us, it is Central Park, right behind where we live. And we're responsible for just going out there and cleaning it up as and when we have the time. And it's just that aspect of going out there and indulging in an activity that has a bit of community repercussion is amazing. And I also want to be able to have my daughter kind of do that as well.
Right.
To be honest, this concept of volunteering as a new immigrant is not a new immigrant anymore, but early on was fairly new to me. We haven't really exercised that concept back in India, and I feel that it is so important. It just makes you more committed, well-rounded individuals, and I really love the fact that there is so much to do in Port Coquitlam, and I'm a little proud of the fact that I'm able to raise my daughter in this environment where she has that exposure to volunteering early on.
So you're a pandemic mom, you're walking. The pandemic's over now. What did you sort of do during that time of the pandemic? Were you trying to research different things? You know, how did you get onto the advisory board? Let's start going into that.
Absolutely. Well, a lot of people don't know this, but in 2022, I did something crazy. I put in my name for the city council for Port Coquitlam, and it raised obviously a lot of eyebrows, simply because, you know, I wasn't known to the community at that point in time. I was just starting out, but I remember having this conversation with my husband about wanting to do more, and just having some thoughts about how representation is so important, especially in the community that you live in. It has massive ramifications, especially for somebody who has left home and hearth and is trying to kind of build themselves from the ground up.
Exactly.
And he just said, you have these things that you want to do, but you have no idea how to go about doing them. And maybe the best way forward is to just throw your hat in the ring. The experience might teach you, or it might, you know, kind of give you some kind of success. And I wasn't expecting on making it to council, but what really helped was just making some really good connections, learning from people, even just that experience of going out there and indulging in a debate with all of these established counselors, and they've been around for so long, and to be able to share that space with them and speak my mind and be heard was really uplifting, and it gave me that opportunity to know that there are things that I could do from the ground up that, whether they have an impact or not, they mean a lot to me. And that, I believe, is some kind of a really weird self-care package for me. So even if I didn't make it to council, I was told that I could apply to a new roundtable that the city of Port Coquitlam has come up with called the Equity, Diversity, Inclusion Roundtable. And it was year 2 at that point in time in 2023 when I applied for it. And I made it. And it has been an amazing experience, simply because we may not be moving mountains, but it helps that you have a voice when it comes to really important aspects of city planning, such as accessibility, for instance, and how to make your immediate living environment more accessible to people who need it. How do you value diversity? And simply because the demographic in Port Coquitlam is changing massively. So how do you give people of different backgrounds, even different skin color for that matter, that ability to feel at home? And that really has been front and center in every activity or every endeavor that I do. And the city has been so amazing in just allowing me that space to indulge in a dialogue with them, and then just kind of make themselves available if there is viability in what I hope to achieve in terms of an event. And that really is how even the Port Coquitlam Diwali celebration has come about.
Yes, exactly. I think that, you know, you came here, like you said, 10 years in the entertainment industry promoting artists in your country. And I'm sure you still have a little bit of that bug in you. And, you know, we'll get to Diwali in a moment, but I also know that you're the co-founder of the Level Up. Tell us about this program and what that was like for you.
Again, the Level Up is a very, I want to say, or rather we're striving it to be a very different networking experience. There are a lot of networking events, networking mixers, networking kind of parties that you can go to. I did a lot of those. I've had a bit of a tumultuous professional experience in Canada, simply because I came with a certain amount of experience not knowing that I would have to start from the ground up here. I did that. I have had the unfortunate experience of even being laid off from the first job that I got in Canada. So there has been a lot of up and down that I have faced in my professional life as well. And at some point in time, you really just take a step back and think, what brought you to this point and where do you go from here? And that led me to just kind of look back at everybody who had made this journey possible for me. And to my privilege and to my credit, I have had some amazing mentors who have guided me along the way. And I felt that a lot of the new immigrants who come into this country lack that opportunity and that access to quality people who will be able to share any kind of experience or just give any kind of direction to these people who are just applying to jobs day in and day out without seeing any kind of results. And I understand that access to be within different members of the community. So I don't believe that only an immigrant can help an immigrant. I want to bridge that gap where there are some amazing stakeholders in our community who are doing such great work, and they're not necessarily South Asian or even of an immigrant background.
Right.
But they have such amazing skill sets and the ability to inspire people. And I want that experience to kind of act as a bridge. So the Level Up is really a curated networking experience where I invite members from the community on a panel, and then there is a Q&A, and we tackle specific topics. So the one that we did the last time around were career hurdles, and really just tackling how immigrant experience is at the crux of all of these hurdles that we experience. We have had some amazing speakers on the panel. We've had Jennifer McKinnon, we've had Noemi Victorino, we've had Jennifer Blatherwick, and these are the kind of women powerhouses who really are able to make that change among people. You know, you sit in the audience, you hear them, you feel inspired. You scale it up by connecting with them and having a conversation with them, and you really just walk away feeling so empowered. And that is exactly what we're hoping to achieve through the Level Up.
Amazing. So that's still ongoing.
That is still ongoing,
Okay,
and
great.
we're going to be, in all probability, having, we're planning on the next session to be around the end of December, right before we go into holiday season.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Good, good. Okay, so now your little baby, your birth to Diwali,
Yes.
celebration, and that you're bringing to, the Tri-Cities. Will you be having this in Port Coquitlam as well?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what's going on there. What year are you? Is this your second year doing it?
Second year
right.
doing it.
Okay.
Yes.
So tell us about that. That sounds very exciting.
It is so exciting.
I just can tell it's like your
Yes.
favorite. I wanted to leave it near the end because you're lighting up.
Absolutely.
Just like Diwali.
Just like Diwali. Oh my gosh, it's all consuming. And I feel like a festival like Diwali is such a barrier breaker among communities, among different community members, because there's only one thing that you can do in Diwali, and that is just enjoy and celebrate. It is the Festival of Lights, and this idea of doing a really, really kind of big community event came about. We actually did it. We attempted to do it in Port Moody, and we did it as well. But at that time, it was a ticketed event, and more so in terms of, you just come in for a gala dinner. There's a DJ playing some Bollywood music and a couple of performances, and that's about it. But there was a lot of scope to scale it up and to be able to involve more community members, because at the heart of it, not just through the work that I've done through the EDI Roundtable, but personally, just championing for inclusivity and giving diversity that space to kind of grow is super important to me. Yes. And the only way we can make Diwali a celebration for everybody to come and enjoy is if it's a very accessible community event. And when I took this idea to Mayor Brad West, I was just encouraged to run with it. And it's really amazing how well it has come together. Our first year, we saw about 500 people in terms of footfalls who attended the event the entire day. This year, we're hoping to do that and more. We are scaling up our inclusivity aspect as well, where we have one of the local dance schools, Coastal Dance Center, is going to be performing as well. I've had a sneak peek of their performance. It's mind-blowing. We also have some very special guests from the community. I'm not going to say who, but some really, really amazing women who are going to be walking with us in the sari fashion show. So you are going to get to see some cool, really powerhouse trailblazer women in a sari. They've never worn the garment before, so when they make it to the stage, they are going to kill it. And that's, yeah, we have about 7 or 8 different performances.
Do you have a date yet?
October 26th, save the date. And it's going to be a day-long extravaganza at the Port Coquitlam Community Center. We have free Bollywood dance and Indian classical dance workshops in the morning. The reason they're free is because we want anybody to be able to come in and experience them. They're seniors friendly. They are accessibility focused as well. So if there are any special needs individuals, we will be able to work with them and accommodate them. We've got a Diwali market where some amazing vendors are going to be able to display their products. The beauty behind the Diwali market is that these are all women-owned businesses. So apart from just coming together to celebrate, we're also giving women the chance to, you know, shine and spread their light as well.
And is the market, is that also diverse, or is it more Southeast Asian style? What can we expect to see there?
There is a lot of diversity within the market as well. Because it's Diwali, you will find a lot of vendors who are focused on Diwali-centric gifting. Yes. But then we have a skincare brand. We have a ginger-infused tea brand. So there is a lot of diversity that you will expect within the vendors that you see at the Diwali market as well.
Great, that's fantastic. So I think, what were some of the challenges that you know, that you had, perhaps, you know, as a newcomer, you know, jumping in with both feet, and just what were some of your roadblocks, trying to make some inroads, like with your city, with your community?
I think acceptance is really just the biggest roadblock. I understand that you have to prove yourself to be accepted in a certain way, but I won't shy away from saying that being a person of color means that you just have to work 10 times harder than you know, your average Joe. So it is I would say that has been my major roadblock to date. But I have to say that if it weren't for my perseverance, I wouldn't be sitting here with you today.
Yes, that's true.
So while there are roadblocks, there's also just that desire to break them down.
And I think that with any challenge, there's always a silver lining.
Yes.
Right? So my last question to you is, in 2022, you said you ran in the election.
Yeah.
Do you think you will try again?
I am thinking about it. I'll be really honest. It's just that there is so much happening in terms of just being this, you know, mini driving force in the community. As a champion of South Asian community, we did an amazing International Women's Day event, which again was super diverse, very, very inclusive. There's the Level Up happening. There is Diwali, which at this point in time is just, I'm living, breathing Diwali, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
And I have a little bit of time before I make that decision. A lot of it is centered around my daughter and in what capacity she's going to be needing me at that point in time. She starts school next year.
Yes.
And we're just kind of going to take it a little bit slow. I do know that if I were to make that decision to run, I'd have the full support of my family and friends. But I want to make sure that it counts this time around. It's not just about soaking up the experience, but really just making a difference.
And sometimes it's a timing.
Yes.
Timing is very important.
Absolutely.
In everything.
Yes.
Well, just like all politicians, you didn't give me a yes or no answer. You told me it's going to be a perhaps, maybe, and it will depend. Today we're talking to Mithila, a community leader in Port Coquitlam, doing so many things. I don't know how you have time for your family. If you're looking for volunteer opportunities, check out the various websites with the city that you do live in. I'm Kathy Chenna. Thanks so much for watching Tri-Cities Community TV. That was so fun.
That was amazing.
Yeah, that was really good.